Hello and welcome to the Bella Vista Glassworks studio where Steve and Carol do their work. This is the entryway, imagine if you can. And this is kind of the inner workings of our studio. What it is it's a converted spare bedroom that we've put in a hardwood floor and took out the carpet, and this is kind of where we do our thing. I work over here on this side and Steve generally works over here on this side. I like to think that we have a place for everything and everything all over the place, or otherwise known as organized chaos. We have a big rack of frit. And this is our major glass supply in the garage. Over here we have a space where we do our cutting, a little cutting table, and we have a bandsaw for cutting glass. We have a couple of grinders, one on each side of the room. This is our light table, and this is where Steve does a lot of his precision work. He gets the light table and I get the view outside. We have a number of different molds that we use when we do our glass forming, glass fusing. And we have an overabundance of scrap glass. We have scrap glass everywhere. Okay, so here's Steve, and he's gonna show you how to do some precision glass cutting. So what he's got here on the light table is his pattern, and I'll get a little bit closer so you can see that. Okay, and then he's got that pattern traced on his main piece of glass, just with a marker. Okay, he's got that all figured out on the main part of the glass. And now what he's doing is he's putting on some wax that protects the mark on the glass. We have a special wax that we've created. You can also buy wax that makes the mark kind of waterproof, so that when you cut it on the saw or grind on the grinder, you don't lose your mark. This part's going to be kind of loud, so I'm going to cut that out of the video. Always wear eye protection when you're working with the saw. And so now he's going to be cutting this very carefully.
On the inside of the line.
On the inside of the line that he drew. Okay, so now what Steve's going to do is he's going to quit about here, and then he's going to start from the other side and then meet up with the mark, so that there's no chipping on the edge. It'll just break off right about here, and there it is. All right, now Steve's going to take the piece onto the grinder and just kind of smooth out the roughness from the saw. Sometimes the saw can be a little bit rough on things, so he's just going to smooth that out with the grinder, and then we'll show you the next part when he's done with that. Okay, now Steve is going to compare his piece to the pattern and see where he needs to make some adjustments, and he'll just draw on where he needs to take off just a little tiny bit more on the piece as compared to what he has on the pattern, and just kind of even things out, make sure that everything is very precise to the pattern. So Steve says instead of using the pattern, the original pattern that was used to cut the base piece, he's now going to use the piece that he has cut to cut the next piece. So he's got that overlaid on the orange piece there, and he's going to trace on that to get exactly the right shape. If the pen is working. Okay, and for this part, he's just gonna cut the normal way with a glass cutter because it's on the outside of the pattern, not the inside where there's, where you can't really get to, you need a saw. So this one he can just do with a regular glass cutter. Just very carefully along the line. Once he has that all cut out, he'll take it to the glass grinder and smooth out the edges. And then he's going to compare that piece to the other piece and see where he needs to make a few adjustments. Here's the almost finished product of the precision cutting part. You can see that there's just a little bit of light coming around between the two pieces, and so what he's going to do is fill that in with some matching frit, powdered frit. But first he has to make the frit, and so he's pounding the same color of glass with our little pounder, and now he's going to filter that through the various screens to get the fine powder at the very end. Here Steve's running a magnet that's inside a little plastic bag through the frit he just made to make sure that all the steel particles from the pounder are removed. And here you can see all the little metal flakes that he managed to get out of the frit with the magnet. Once you have your powdered frit in hand, you just put your pieces on to the kiln shelf, wherever it's going to be stable so you don't have to mess up your powder. Sprinkle on a little bit of your powdered frit and brush it into the cracks to fill them in. And once you have that all filled in, you can just dust that off onto another piece of paper so that you can take that away without it being on your piece or on the shelf. Once you have all the extra frit dusted off, you can just place your cover glass, we use Tecta, over your piece, and it's ready for the kiln. Thanks for watching.